Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, the Millennial Investor, and today we're going to be talking about M1 Finance versus Robinhood. What are the differences between these two apps, between these two different brokerages, these trading platforms, and which is the better brokerage? I'll be going through all the different features and differences between these two, and I'll say that more than likely you will end up wanting to use M1 Finance after I show you this, but I'll be showing the pros and cons to both because there are some features that Robinhood has that M1 does not, and there are a lot of features that M1 has that Robinhood does not. There are mostly two big drawbacks to using M1 Finance, but if you're a dividend long-term investor like me, M1 Finance is the way to go. As usual, if you enjoy watching my videos and you enjoy watching my content, make sure to use this link right here, and it's down below in the description. And you're welcome to use M1 Finance, and if you do want to use Robinhood, you can also use this link as well, which is also in the description. You can copy and paste that into your browser, and then you can get started investing with either one of these platforms. So to get started, as usual, we show you with an update of my portfolio. We have $1,762 right here. We just moved $100 over so I could show you how the buy orders work for M1 Finance. And we're still doing pretty good in the portfolio. We're up 10.93% in total, or about $168.44 in gain. $165 of that coming from market gain, about $2.81 of that coming from earned dividends. So really awesome to see that number keep going up and up. As I said, we're a dividend investor, so we want to see that number go up more than that number. And I'll be moving more money over just like I moved this $100 over right here. So first of all, the first thing that I want to show is buying shares. So if I go to Robinhood here and I want to buy shares, let's say I just want to buy the S&P 500, the SPY. If I go to Robinhood here, I search SPY, and what I need to do is I need to type in shares or dollars amount. The one cool part that I get to mention here about Robinhood is that as of recently, they just added that you can do fractional shares from the time I'm making this video. So you can put in dollars and you can buy $5 worth of the S&P 500, or which would be about 0.017 shares of the S&P 500. So that was a feature that Robinhood did not have for the longest time. I feel like as far as fractional shares go, M1 Finance was really the one to pioneer this feature. Before M1 Finance did it, really almost no brokerage that I know of really had this feature as fractional shares. As you can see here with all of my holdings, so if we go to my holdings here, we can sort by number of shares. And you see here, I have fractional shares with all of them. A lot of these companies that I own, because we started this portfolio about a month ago, and you guys are watching me deposit money to it every single week, every single month, so we've grown it. This portfolio is only about 3 or 4 weeks old, so we are starting to get our first deal of dividends, and we don't have full shares in a lot of these positions. So from Altria down, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 23 of the 30 companies I own, I don't even own a full share in. As crazy as that is to say, like my largest holding, for example, is Broadcom. Broadcom I owned right about a half a share. Now I know here in the next 30 minutes or so, I'm about to be buying more of these companies, so we'll own more shares. But as far as buying stocks, so if I have a diversified portfolio, if you're like me, if you're someone who likes to have a bunch of different holdings in their portfolio. So if we go to share my pie here and we copy it into the web browser, and it's also in the link in the description of all of my videos if you're interested in looking at my portfolio, and we paste that and we search it into the web browser. So we're going to preview my portfolio as if you're someone watching my videos and you'd like to see my portfolio firsthand. You can see the 1 week, 1 month, 1 quarter, 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year portfolio performance. So first off, this is not a feature that Robinhood has. The only way that I can show you my performance in my portfolio is that if I buy the S&P 500 and I show you whether I'm up, whether I'm down, the dividends I've received, is to basically send you screenshots or see you in person, physically bring you my cell phone. I can share this link and show anybody my portfolio. You can see how many holdings I have. You can see the dividend yield of the entire portfolio based on the weights of these companies that I own. You can see the expense ratio with a 0 because I don't own any ETFs or any funds or anything like that. There are so many benefits using M1 Finance when you can share this with anyone. For example, if you're someone watching my video right now and you're a noob, if you're brand new, if you don't know hardly anything about stock market investing, and you watch my videos and you say, okay, I really like what this guy has, he has a good portfolio, you can just copy and paste that link and it'll take you directly to my portfolio and you can invest directly in it. And not to mention, like I mentioned before, with investing when you use my link, you'll also get $10 just for being referred using this link right here. So give 10, get 10. And I'll make sure to mention you in the video. I would love to see somebody else investing with the same portfolio as me. That would be awesome. But my dividend yield is about 4%. As we know, those of you that keep up with my channel, I'm strictly a dividend investor. All these are high yield dividend stocks. So in Robinhood, this is what I wanted to point out. This is the main difference between Robinhood versus M1 Finance. Fractional shares is something that was brought recently, but let's say, as you can see here on M1 Finance, I deposited $100. So let's go to my activity here. I deposited $100. We had my morning trading with 30 buys. I started this portfolio with my 30 stocks, and then what the pie feature does in M1 Finance, it picks the stock out of my 30 companies that I picked, and it will invest the ones that are least weighted. So basically, it left out 7 companies, the 7 companies that were the most overvalued at the moment, and then it bought the other 23. So as you can see here, I deposited another $100 that just went through, and then in the next 20 minutes or so, we're about to make an upcoming trade. So you can see here, the next trade window is at 9 a.m. As of right now, it's about 8:34. So in about 20 minutes, we're going to buy 25 of these companies. You have 25 buys right here. So we're going to go to the details, and it says 25 buys, and it's leaving out 5 of my companies that it's not going to touch at all, and it's sorting it from most weighted to least weighted. So if we go back to my portfolio and we go back to my holdings, you can see these weight percentages. So if we sort by weight percentages, it'll show my biggest holdings to my smallest holdings. So as you see here, Realty Income, one of the largest holdings in my portfolio, has 7% of my portfolio, and it's down 0.3% from where it's supposed to be. This holding, this $118.74, represents 6.7% of this whole cash portfolio, all these holdings. So it is down 0.3% of the size that it needs to be. So unless the stock shoots up in the next 20 minutes, it will be buying Realty Income to replace that 0.3%. So when I hit view details here, if you notice, the largest buy in the portfolio is Realty Income. That's why, because it is so severely underweighted in my portfolio. The next is Wells Fargo. So Wells Fargo, if we look back here, let's go back to Wells Fargo and look at the holding in that. It is down 0.2% from its 5% target. And if we go back to the upcoming trades here, you'll notice it says 1 excluded. So to buy a company, even in fractional shares, you need to have at least a $1 buy order. So as you can see here, it would potentially only put 11 cents in Foot Locker. That's completely fine. 11 cents is pretty minuscule anyway, and it'll just be putting that 11 cents in cash. The reason why it's not going to buy Foot Locker is that if we go to my performance in my portfolio here and we sort by gain return, as you can see here, Foot Locker is one of the best performing stocks in my portfolio. It is overweight at 2.1 instead of 2. And you can see here with my other stocks like Cisco, Whirlpool, NextEra Energy, Discover Financial, these stocks will not be being bought. It will more so be the lower performing stocks down here with like Wells Fargo, like we just pointed out, and those stocks will be underweight in their portfolio. You can see here, see this little white line at the end of Wells Fargo company, that little white gap? That shows that it's underweight in the portfolio. So as you can see here, this one, for example, Cisco, who is the best performer in the portfolio, it is sticking out further than the Wells Fargo. That is because it's overweight. So when I deposit, it will get a more round circle rather than these little jagged edges here. That's the point of making the deposits. Because as you go along, different stocks will perform differently. Some will perform better than others. Some will perform worse. So this is the point of the pie feature. And this is what I really like, is that especially in dividend investing, the lower a stock goes, the better the dividend yield. And this stock, this yield for this stock, will go up when it falls. So that's why it's important to use the pie system to invest in stocks that are undervalued. So if Broadcom dropped massively today, it would spend even more money on Broadcom because that dividend yield is higher and its PE ratio is lower. If you go to the S&P 500 through Robinhood here, or let's go to Broadcom for example, if I wanted to buy Broadcom, the bad part about Robinhood is that if I want to go and I want to buy $5 worth of Broadcom stock, I could type in $5 and it'll type in my number of shares there, but it does not have this pie feature. It makes it autonomous to where I don't have to look and see which companies are undervalued. I don't have to go one by one, dig through all one of these 30 companies and see which is the better buy. With Robinhood, I would have to go through each one of my 30 companies and try to determine which is the best stock to buy. And even if I were to do that, if I were to split it up between my $100, I would have to make 30 orders. So I'm going to show you the difference between placing orders with M1 Finance with Robinhood. With Robinhood, I would have to go one by one. If I wanted to put, so 8% is the weight of Broadcom on portfolio, type in $8, and then I would have to click review order, and then I'd click buy. And then next, I would have to type in O stock, which is the second biggest holding in my portfolio, which is Realty Income, and then I'd have to type in $7. Then I'd have to place the order and go. And then I'd have to keep on going on and on and on. I'd have to do Visa, and then I'd have to do Whirlpool and Cisco and all these other companies, and I'd have to type in the weights of what I want with each and every company. I would have to place 30 buy orders every time I moved money over. So if I go to M1 Finance, here's what I do. I do my deposit. You see my activity here. I made my $100 deposit. And let's turn off the automatic cash. Let's turn off auto invest. So if we turn this off, I have $102.93 worth of cash. It turns off the buys. Remember earlier here it said 25 buys pending. But if I turn that back on, let's turn that back on. Turn on auto invest. It's updated. Bam. 25 buys. 25 buy orders ready to go. That was one click of a button. Here, I'll do it again. Turn it off. You can see it goes away. I click one time, one button, bam, 25 buy orders. One click of the mouse, and I just made 25 different orders rather than going to Robinhood and clicking one by one, $7, type in this estimated amount. So this is by far the best feature with Realty Income versus M1 Finance, but let's point out one of the biggest problems with M1 Finance that it has that Robinhood doesn't. So to start off, Realty Income, for example, is a stock that we're looking at. Realty Income can be bought right now through Robinhood. The market just opened right now, as you can see, and it also lets you buy in pre-market. And it also lets you buy, I think it's 2 hours worth of post-market during after hours. So as you can see here, you can buy during any time. Right now, if I click that $7 like we showed, and I click review order, and then I click deposit, well, I would say buy if I had the cash in there. I don't have any cash in there right now. If I'd click buy, instantly within a millisecond, I would own that company. The drawback to having M1 Finance is that you only have 1 or 2 trade windows depending as to whether or not you have M1 Plus. So after 9 a.m., if I decide at noon today and you don't have M1 Plus, you decide at noon that you want to buy Realty Income stock, you have to wait until the next trading day at 9 a.m. So for a high frequency trader, for someone that is wanting to buy Realty Income here at 9:43 a.m. and then sell it tomorrow or sell it an hour from now or 30 minutes, this is a horrible, horrible platform to use talking about M1 Finance. M1 Finance is not for short-term movements. It is not trying to predict where a stock is going to go in the next hour or the next 10 minutes. This is a stock trading platform that is built to hold for the long term. These are the companies that I'm going to hold for several months, several years. Robinhood, you can still do that. You can still hold those companies, but you're able to buy and sell at any moment. If I buy Broadcom right now at 9 a.m. and by noon it shoots up 20%, I can't sell it till tomorrow. Now for me, this is why I still use M1 Finance, is because for me, this is not a problem. I don't care if I can only have one trading window a day because I'm focused on dividend and long-term investing. I will rarely be selling any. I might sell stocks in my portfolio once every couple of months, maybe once a year. So for me, this doesn't really matter a whole lot being able to sell at certain times of the day. I think one of the benefits to this that a lot of people don't see is that it keeps you invested. Having a portfolio that automatically does 25 buys for me, and I get to see all these different price move every single day. If I use Robinhood, I'm a lot more focused on the price, knowing that I can sell at any moment and I'll be tempted to sell. So I think that's a common mistake that a lot of people struggle with starting out. They get all amped up if the stock immediately shoots up. As you can see, on all 30 of my stocks in my portfolio, I'm up on all of them from 31% all the way down to 0.34 at Wells Fargo. I'm up on every single one of them, but that doesn't mean I'm going to sell them. But it is a feature that a lot of people will not like about M1 Finance, is that your trades do have to wait until 9 a.m. each day, and you can buy and sell anytime with Robinhood whenever you feel is best, including part of the pre-market and part of the after hours as well. So one thing that I would like to point out about Robinhood that it does not have compared to M1 Finance is that these numbers right here, the information about the company is pretty lacking. So as you can see here about Realty Income is the stock that we're looking at. Most of this information is just showing price movements. One of the benefits I will say to using Robinhood compared to M1 Finance is that it does have trade options. So as you can see here, O stock, we'll just use Realty Income here. If I click Trade O Options, if I click this number here, you can do options trading completely for free. You can go through all the different dates here. So here, we'll use the S&P 500. It'll have a lot more date options because the S&P 500 is traded a lot more frequently. Trade SPY options, SPY, we're on the S&P 500 ETF. So as you see here, we can go through all of these different dates that we can trade these options through. If we go back here, it'll show the price of the options. These expire today, I believe. And it'll show all these. So let's go to June 1st. So if we go a couple months out, you can bid on these option contracts and trade them pretty much anytime you want, as long as it's during market hours, of course. So options trading is an option that Robinhood has, and it's still free. Both of these trading platforms, I'm sure as most of you know, are commission free. There's no commissions for any types of trades, whether it's fractional shares, whether it's whole shares. To use this pie feature like I was telling you about, there are no fees for any of this, including the options trading. The only fees that are associated with both of these, especially with Robinhood, if you're trading frequently, it's a fraction of a penny. It's like 0.0001 cent or something like that. The SEC charges like regulatory fees anytime you buy and sell stock, but it's so minuscule, like it's practically worthless. Like you might get charged a penny for every couple $1,000s you trade, so it's not really worth even mentioning. But options trading here is something that Robinhood has that M1 Finance does not. Now, a lot of you, this is primarily used for a lot of large hedge fund managers and a lot of large investors that will use it as hedges against their position. A lot of times they'll go long in the S&P and will buy puts just in case they lose money. They can kind of break even. But once again, this is the second big drawback with M1 Finance that Robinhood does not have that I wanted to point out. They do not have any options trading. The good news is for me, I am not interested in options trading. Options trading is not a long-term builder for wealth. It is for short-term gambling moves, in my opinion. No one has ever got extremely wealthy in the long term over the course of a decade, 2 decades off of options trading. It just doesn't happen. Options trading is for making a quick buck, trying to make the big profit. As you see here, let's just go from a couple weeks out from the time I'm filming this video. The put options, for example, are down 25% on the day. 25%. Let's look at the call options. The call options are up 10+% on all these contracts. So if you want a portfolio that's moving up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% in a day, like these put options, for example, that are down 30+%, then options trading is for you. But if you want to build long-term wealth, if you want to have ownership in these companies, if you're building equity, if I want to have $142 worth of value worth of Broadcom, that is me physically owning. I own a piece of Broadcom. If you're buying a contract, if you're buying an option trade, it's just a contract to trade stocks. You're not owning anything other than the contract, and all these are depreciating assets. So if we go to the long term, if we go out here to December of 2022, these options contracts are worth $45, and then if you go to the ones that are due in the next day or two, they're down to $2. So as you can see here, $43 a contract, it's eliminated because the further you get out, the more valuable they are, then the closer you get, the more worthless they get. So holding these contracts for the long term is usually a very unprofitable way of trading. Options trading is not for beginners. Honestly, I don't even think it's really for the experience. It's mostly for the people on Wall Street, which if you're watching this, you're not on Wall Street. So don't mess with options trading. Even if M1 Finance were to bring this to their platform, I highly doubt they will. But even if they were, it wouldn't be something that I'd ever mess with. So one thing that I will say that Robinhood has been complained about a lot, this is not something that I've had an issue with. Robinhood has been complained a lot and criticized a lot for not having a reliable support system. So this is what I wanted to look at here. If you click account and then you go to the bottom here and then you click contact us. This is one thing that I've heard very commonly among Robinhood users that have had issues. So let's say investing. Let's say I had an issue with investing and the topic dividends. We'll just click dividends. So it can show you related articles. But if you need to physically speak to someone on the phone, you cannot do that. Right now, if you had an issue, there are many other brokerages where you can call up and say, hey, I'm having an issue, my account number is blah, 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 and then they can help you with that situation. Robinhood does not have any kind of tech support over the phone. They only have email, and then they have articles that you can read, which I'm sure the articles won't help because you already would have looked at that. So that is one big drawback of Robinhood. Both of these brokerages are relatively new brokerages. They're the new kids on the block. That's why you see a lot of larger brokerages such as like Charles Schwab and stuff like that bringing in fractional shares and commission-free trading. Because honestly, I will say that is the one thing I really do respect about Robinhood. They are the company that pretty much revolutionized the stock brokerage platforms. They have no trading fees whatsoever, and they were the first to do that, even before M1 Finance. This is coming from someone that used Robinhood for about 2 years and then recently switched to M1 Finance once I saw the features that were available. Robinhood was definitely the one that pioneered the commission-free trading, and honest to God, if it wasn't for Robinhood, I think today we'd still be paying $10, $15, $20 per trade, whatever it would be, just to trade and buy and sell stocks. So every time I'd be buying these stocks, I'd be losing $10 a pop, $10 a pop. Robinhood was the one who eliminated that. One thing that I will say that is pretty new to Robinhood users, if you go to cash section here through Robinhood, you can see your buying power here, which is $0. I don't have any money deposited in my Robinhood account right now, and withdraw or spend. So right now, they have options to use debit cards through their platform. You can use the cash, or you can also use margin to use your debit card to pay for stuff with, and then you can also get interest based off the cash in your account. Interest rates were just lowered through the Fed, so it's only 0.3% right now. It is pretty small. I didn't even know I had a penny in there. I guess I had a couple dollars before I removed it the other day. I didn't even know I had a penny. Woohoo. But if we go to M1 Finance, they also have a similar thing such as this. If you have their spend tab, they're introducing M1 Spend, which is a pretty similar situation where they have 1% APY, and that does change once again with interest rates being lowered and raised. But you do get 1% cash back when you enroll in M1 Plus. This is not something that I'm really interested in using for either of these platforms, but if it is something that you're interested in, it is an option, so that is good to have. One thing that is extremely new to Robinhood, I would say within the last month or so of me filming this video, if you click profile here under account, it is really weird, and I'm not even really sure why they added this, to be honest. I guess to just give you a little bit more of a cosmetic appealing aspect to what to look at in your portfolio. They will split it up into 4 different sections if you have all 4 of these, with stocks, ETFs, options, and crypto. That is one benefit that I also want to point out real quick that Robinhood has that M1 Finance does not. Once again, crypto is not something that I will probably ever mess with. I highly doubt it. If we go to Bitcoin here, you can trade Bitcoin through Robinhood once again, whether it be in dollars. You can trade fractional pieces of Bitcoin, or you can buy full shares. You can see your Bitcoin's trading about $7,700 right now. But that is something that you can do through Robinhood, and I know they have others as well, so like Ethereum. So yeah, you can see Ethereum right here is about $194. If you're interested in crypto trading for whatever reason, you can definitely use Robinhood for this. But let's go back to what's important here. Let's go back to this profile section like I was talking about. Stocks, ETFs, options, crypto. I would not use crypto trading in my trading platform. I know people have a lot of varying opinions whether or not crypto is going to be the future or whether it's going to go bust. I'm not here to debate that. Personally, I think crypto is not safe. It is not something to invest in. For one, I loved all the hype and excitement around the investing platform with cryptocurrency, so I hope it goes to 1 million. No one more than me hopes that it goes to 1 million because I'd love to see all the excitement and thrills about it. So I don't think cryptocurrency is built for long-term wealth investing. No one other than in 2018 with those huge speculators, those dumb rich 20-year-olds who invested 10,000 in cryptocurrency and just had dumb luck and found themselves with $1 million worth of Bitcoin. No one has invested in cryptocurrency over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years and became a millionaire. But on the profile section here, it divides it into stocks, ETFs, options, and crypto, and it has its different categories for its industries here between business, consumer goods, energy and water, finance, healthcare, hospitality, manufacturing, materials, tech, media, and telecom. Once again, you can edit your profile here, but this is not really something that can be shared with other people. With M1 Finance, I can click share this pie, and people can invest in that pie themselves if they were interested. Another cool part that I forgot to mention about sharing this pie, going back to this. If you liked my portfolio, you said, okay, I want to invest in this portfolio, I like what he has, but I would still like to choose a lot of stocks myself. So for example, you could edit this portfolio. So if we can do this, we can go back here and we can change to edit. What we can do is we can edit this portfolio to edit in my portfolio. If I were to click add, and then I can add a bunch of different stocks, and I could change the weight to where it could have a piece of that shared portfolio in there as well. If I wanted to add someone else's, I could lower it down, let's say to 90%, and then 2% of that portfolio I could use with someone else's, like the one that I shared with this link. You could still use part of your portfolio, you could use part of mine, you could use all of someone else's, or you could use all of yours. You really have a lot of diversity there. And speaking of showing my portfolio and sharing it with others, this is not something that Robinhood does. It does not calculate the dividend yield for you. So if you were to have a Robinhood portfolio and you own 30 plus dividend stocks, like you can see here, I have this list full of my stocks that I have in my M1 Finance portfolio, and it shows their performance for the day and stuff like that. If I were to own the 30 stocks in this portfolio, it would not show me my average dividend yield. M1 Finance updates this every single day and shows you what the dividend yield is like. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much the highlights for M1 Finance. And one thing I want to point out here, it's pretty much perfect timing is the time I'm ending this video. It says morning trade in progress. So right now, it's 9:01 as we speak. Right now, these 25 companies, if those are the 25 that it goes with based on the algorithm and the price movements for the day, those are the 25 companies that are being bought right now as we speak, right at the time I'm filming this video. And also, as you can see, the market is open now. We are up about 0.75% or about $13.27 worth of market gain on the day. And I'll be buying those companies, and in the next video, we'll be going over the 25 or however many companies that I end up buying in my next video. So I hope this helped you guys, especially if you're new. I'm sure you still have a lot of questions and a lot of different things that you'd like to see with M1 Finance. If you'd like to know any questions down below, make sure to hit me up in the comment section, or you're welcome to ask me about stocks or the market. And you're also welcome to ask me any questions both about Robinhood and M1 Finance. If you're interested in using either one of these, just as I mentioned, what you can do is you can use my link down below. This is my one for Robinhood. It is in the description if you're interested, and also for M1 Finance. You can use this link down below and we'll each get $10. And with Robinhood for referrals, you get free stocks, as you can see here, rather than cash. But you can use that $10 and you can get that invested in your first dividend portfolio, and I'll make sure to mention you in the video. But I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.